What inspires you to work with flower essences?
The first flower essence I got from you was Infinite Love, and it changed my life in a real way, like in a tangible, I don't hate my mom kind of way. And after that, with mamas and babies and with my own family, the way I present it to them is that this emotional healing is available to you, and it's available in all different realms. Like you could go to therapy, all the different things you can do to emotionally heal, but these show you that it can be as easy as like a flower opening. Like that's how gentle the healing can be, and you still get the benefits of the healing. And so that's kind of how I use it with my families or women that I worked with. And, in those really hard moments of labor, right? When you've been working so hard and you're cannot go anymore. And if it was just an essential oil in a spray bottle, it would maybe have the same uplifting effect. But with the flowers and the frequency, the way that it can change the pace of a birth or the energy or the flow of a birth is almost immediate. They're wide open anyways. They're in the birthing realm. And then you add flowers on top of it with the refreshness of a spray and the scent, a new scent in the room. It gets women over that hump faster than anything else I've used.
Whoa. Tell me more.
So the woman I see, or the woman I'm thinking of, is a woman who's exhausted, who's done, maybe it's been 24, 36 hours of hard work, 5 minutes of hard, contractions where you have to face each one. There's no stopping and taking a break. And there's a surrender that comes naturally, but it also can feel like defeat, right? I don't know where the next will come from. And that's usually where I bring in flower essences. I'll carry inner peace because fear is a huge hurdle in birth, and I'll carry radiant energy is a big one. The other new one that I love is sacred body, and that's the one that I've been really using the most. And so if you just imagine a woman at her end, naked, sweating, her eyes are closed, she's not paying attention, she doesn't even have words for you, she's not here really on earth with us, and to just spray her with a little bit of confidence and some flowers, that next contraction is the one that moves it, is the one that moves the baby down and out, or the one that she's has the energy to do the next thing that she needs to do. So I've just seen it dissolve and open me, birthing women, my children, faster and gentler than anything else in the healing world.
Wow. What kind of transformation does a woman go through naturally in that experience that the flower essences could, of course, support? I can imagine it's somewhat like the death process.
It's the same door, in my opinion, in my experience. And to walk into that portal willingly is rare. And women under my care are doing that. They're saying yes to the whole process. And so that takes courage, but it's painful, and you have to get outside yourself to let a whole new person in. And the sacredness of the parts of the body that the baby's moving through. Women hold trauma there. And so you're facing your whole entire life in that moment and coming out a new person. I had babies, my own babies, and attended births while having babies. And so at a birth, I had a 6-week-old little boy with me, my own. So I was just newly out of the birth portal. And this woman was, at that really hard part where it's the end of the hard contractions and you have to get a baby out of your body part. It's hard. It's a hard thing to face. And she was at that part, and she looks me in the eye and says, "I think I'm gonna die." And I said, "That's because you are." And it might not sound reassuring, it might sound terrifying, but for her, she understood oh, I have to let that happen. I have to let that death happen to get through this part. And I think flowers tether us here so you don't get lost out where we go.
What do you think the things are that would try to get in the way, or what are the fears?
Well, death probably is the biggest one, but there's others sexual trauma can keep anybody from letting anything go through that part of your body. But it can be smaller things, just things that you've experienced in your own life, your own relationship with your own mother, your own birth. You were there at your birth, whether you remember it or not. Your body remembers how you were born, and was it safe, and did it, was your mother cared for? Were you cared for? Did they pull you out? Were you cut out? Did you get, All of those things you carry with you into that space. And if you can like find the gentle way through, I'm gonna find that. Maybe it's cheating, but I don't think flowers are cheating. I think they came here to help us.
So, woman is carrying a baby for 9 to 10 months in her belly, in her body. What would be like the net effect of using something like flower essences to dissolve mama's stress? What's the effect of that on the baby that's growing?
So waters hold memory, hold communication, and babies are held in waters. And so to act like what you feel is not felt by your baby, or wasn't felt by you what your mother felt, and you weren't stewing in a emotional sea of your mom's emotions as you developed yourself. I mean, that's why you can live with your mom. That's why all of it, like you understand who she is on a deep, deep, deep level because you felt every emotion she feels. And so I'll often do chocolates is when I buy a lot of and give to my moms, because if you can just take a minute to feel all that, like just to take that minute and to feel it and to feel joy, even if the rest of your life is terribly stressful, even if everything else is terrible, for that minute, that baby also felt that joy. And so I don't like to blame mamas for their emotional states or how they feel. I don't think it's fair because we are who we are and we're feeling how we're feeling. But if you can like transform all of that, your baby also gets those benefits. And we're growing ourselves in our mother's womb. And if you're growing yourself in a healing waters, I don't know how much better it could get.
Sounds like the way I'd want to come in. You having taken flower essences for so long and knowing how they impact you, what do you think the role of flower essences could be in supporting a new mother beyond after she's worked with you? Like she's got this little one now and then, until they're grown.
Yeah, I mean, huge, right? The great thing about flowers and children and babies is babies and children are still really open and receptive. So like the work they do to get to where we get with the work we do is a lot less and can be instantaneous. And I've seen that in kids and babies. Babies are traumatized by birth, whether it's an easy birth or not. It's a hard passage. And if I can spray a flower essence or use a little bit right near mama, the shift that happens is immediate in a baby. And moving forward with your little ones, it's a game changer. It really is just a game changer. I've told you guys before, but I gave one of my sons, I let him pick whichever old bottles I want and refill them. And he picked Inner Knowing one time and came home and was like, reformed his diet. I'm never drinking soda again, Mom. Like, these are things I need to do with my life. He's in 3rd grade. Like, but it was this little inner knowing that, So I think if you're open enough to like allow children to be who they are, they will take and benefit in a way that's like tangible for you to see. If you even are doubting, I would start with the kids.
And all your kids have taken flower essences?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes it's a secret and it's in their water bottle, but yeah.
Can you speak to Heal or Heal Thyself? What's the role of flower essences to funnel their way through your system so that you can be a better midwife, ushering in these new babies, as you say?
Like to carry the energy of others or to be responsible for others' lives and, entrance into the world, it feels huge to me. And so the presence, I think, that flowers gives me is important, and the energetic protection and the self-reflection. I already feel like that's something I really try to stay on top of. And what I use the flowers for most is that kind of, so be as clear as you can to offer clearly what I have to offer.
What's the role of unseen things? I mean, we can say flower essences, we can say a bell, sound, love, motherly love, the love you have for your clients.
Most of what's happening is unseen. And to only go off what is seen will leave you lacking, especially in birth. Like I have an old midwifery textbook from the 1350s is when I think it was published. And they call the birthing woman a traveler because she travels to the heavens to get her baby, which is what I have always told moms, that they're like gonna leave. You're gonna have to go somewhere and you're gonna have to get your baby and you're gonna have to come back, but you have to leave your body to do that. And that's that death part that I was talking about. So I think when you're pregnant, you already know, right? There's a whole human being inside of you that leaves you open already. And I'm not an expert, but from my experience, I believe they come and go. They're not here. They're not stagnant in your belly while they're growing their soul. And I've seen souls enter bodies. Like I've seen that happen. So I know it's at birth when it's happens, the breath of life, right? But from pregnancy until well into the postpartum, you have to be open enough to receive the soul of a baby coming and going, which is really why a lot of people think pregnant women are crazy. Because they're two whole people at once. And it's hard to explain that, it's hard to be it, but when you are it, it is relieving that somebody understands that's what's going on, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just, you know, a Western perspective on birth. And I think as midwives and women, we've always known that there's more going on here than what you can see.
And can you share some of the stories that you were sharing with me earlier about the unknown and the unseen and the things that don't make sense realm?
Yeah, so when a baby, once this baby was born and he wasn't breathing and needed help breathing, it's called resuscitation. I know it's like a big scary word, but we needed to get him here. And usually you use this medical tool that breathes for a baby that you would use. And I hand that to the woman I'm working with, the woman who trained me. And she took it and threw it across the room. And so I was like, how are we going to do this then? Like, what's the next step? And she started singing a song in a language I didn't recognize, a song I've never heard. But in my estimation, that if that's what we had to get this baby here, I'm going to do it. So I started singing along with her, all the words. I didn't know any of them, but just they came with her and I sang with her. And then the whole room started singing, the mom, the dad, all the other people that were there. And then the baby started crying, and to have sung that baby to life rather than there's other better words, but violently bring him back to life was, it isn't all just physical here.
Mm-hmm. Can you share the bell story?
Sure. It was in my apprenticeship. It was while I was still learning, and my teacher was a different kind of teacher, and we had a situation where this family was a no to the hospital no matter what. No matter what, we're not going. We're okay with any outcome. We are not going. And that's rare. It's rare to find a couple like that who both are on board for that being their story. And this happened to be one of those instances where any other couple would have gotten an ambulance ride to the hospital, but they were a firm no. So instead, I was handed a bell that I was told to shake at the heart rate of a baby and never stop. And in the meantime, my midwife used the woman that trained me used her hands, opened the woman's cervix and brought the baby down. And baby was alive and everything was well. But that's it was the bell that kept the baby here. It was the bell that, reminded mom that this is the work, really release and open. And really, I believe it was what changed the situation was the ringing of the bell. But I learned that from her. I take my job seriously, and she said, ring the bell. I'm ringing the bell, I'm not going to stop.
Going to keep the heart beating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I carry a bell with me all the time now, too, so you'll never know.